right, let's move into some segments. This first one. Sometimes I'll when I'm doing research for topics, I'll I search different plastic surgery things, and I'll see an article, and I'm like, why is this an article? But then also sometimes I'll want to do that one because it's just kind of silly.
So weird.
Huh? Yeah, because it's kind of unusual. But I can always make it informative, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to right the ship when I just derail this whole segment. When I ask you, should you be getting your Botox while you're upside down? I don't know. This is kind of a wild one. This comes, I know, this sounds silly. Have you guys heard of this?
No.
I assume not. I mean, I'd never heard of this. So there's a New York plastic surgeon, Dr. Barry Weintraub, who's being interviewed. There's an article about it. This is the article that I read. Throw it up there, Travis, if somebody wants to see this great article. Yep. He's a bigwig. Bigwig plastic surgeon reveals his unconventional Botox technique to prevent bruising. So Dr. Weintraub is talking about his groundbreaking Botox technique where he puts patients upside down to prevent bruising. Because he claims,
okay.
I kind of see where he's going.
I was like, why is this
Yeah, I kind of see where he's going with this. His claim is that when you put people on their head, that all the blood rushes to their head, and you can see the veins easier, and then you're not going to accidentally stab one. I think this is silly.
Right off the bat.
Just right off the bat, this is silly. And the reason I say that is because obviously when we're doing Botox, we're not going to stick a vein on purpose. I mean, yes, he's 100% correct that if you are on your head, your blood pressure in your head is going to go up, and veins that are visible are going to be engorged or more visible. But in the reality is that it's not going to make veins that you can't see suddenly visible. When I've gotten bruising from Botox, which happens, I mean, and I'm going to talk about some Botox tips, but first we'll talk about, how common is bruising. Well, I tell my patients that bruising is the number one risk. 100% bruising is the number one risk getting Botox because you are getting stuck with a needle. And anytime your skin gets punctured by anything, there's a chance you could bruise. And there are a lot of veins around the eyes, on the forehead. And the thing is, and why I think this is silly, is you can see them, and you obviously don't stick the ones that you can see, but those aren't the ones that get you. When people bruise, it's because you stick, generally it's when you stick like an arteriole, which is like a really, really small artery, like right before they become capillaries, and you're never going to see those because those are high pressure.
Not even when you're upside down.
Not even when you're upside down. Like it's not going to make a difference. So I think that this is just, it's just like so many things we've talked about, like a marketing.
Where is he a doctor in?
In New York City. Okay. Yeah. I mean, he's a legit plastic surgeon.
Maybe he's just trying to set himself apart and be I don't
extra. Know. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. I think so.
Just trying to be extra.
He's like, oh, I do these extra things to keep you from, and make you feel like you're going to a special. I just don't think it actually works. It's
not necessary.
I almost kind of feel bad. I mean, I think that maybe he does this, and then people wanted to interview him, and now this article's out there. He's like, man, I bet other plastic surgeons are making fun of me. I don't know.
But he's just doing it to make his patients feel extra, taken care of, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I will. Yeah, and I agree that
good customer service.
Bruising is the number one risk. I just don't think this was gonna. I don't think this would work.
There's no science backing it.
But yeah, there's definitely no science behind it, and the theory behind it of vein engorgement being easier to see. It's like, well, okay, don't stab the veins. I mean, I don't know. So I thought that was kind of an odd article. I don't think you need to get your Botox upside down because I don't think that makes a difference. But I do want to offer some Botox tips. I've been doing Botox now for not quite 20 years. And having been done that long, I feel like I have a pretty good grasp on it. And I do have this very loyal following of people because, I have this med spa now and I have multiple injectors. And ideally, it would be best for them to do all the injecting because from a business standpoint, my time is not necessarily well spent getting Botox ready and doing that. It's just there's really no money in Botox, and so I'm better off doing surgery consults or doing surgery. But that being said, I have this extremely loyal following of people who just flat out. Oh, by the way, we have some sample now.
Haha!
I meant to tell you that. Yes, you can come in whenever you want. I have this very loyal following of people who will only let me do their Botox
Including me now, apparently.
Yeah, apparently now it's you. But
Travis,
I do think that
bandwagon?
Huh?
One more time.
Wait, Travis, you want
I
to?
said Travis is going to get Botox next.
You know, Travis, I've been thinking about doing it myself, and so I'll go first, and I'll let you know. My office. Oh, I just was talking about this last week or maybe 2 weeks ago about my office manager, and then she happened to be watching, and she chimed in, or you said it. I may try it.
You should try it. You should go first, and then if I like it,
you'll be like, oh, you look extra handsome today.
If I vibe with it,
You look refreshed.
Trey'd be like, oh, you do look good, man. I come by. Hey, Trey, if you want Botox, I'll do it myself for you.
Okay, I got you. I appreciate that.
I won't send you off to somebody. I'll do it myself.
Okay, right on.
Okay. All right. But I want to give like my.
He's just like, nah.
He's like, nah. I don't think Trey likes needles. You don't like needles, do you?
No, I'm not opposed to them. Like, I'm not afraid of needles.
Okay.
He likes needles for sure.
Like there was something you just said that you just don't like. Oh, it's your eyeball. You don't.
Yeah, I can't touch my eye.
Okay, eyeball. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right, let me.
Sarah is so tickled.
Let me reel this back in
You're
here.
like, no.
I promise we are coming
needles.
to like some actual information. It is going to happen. Okay, so these are my tips for Botox, and this is not the end all be all of tips, but I have done this a long time, and I have like a pretty loyal following people. I do like the Botox brand. There are a lot of competitors out there: Dysport, Jeuveau, Ziminin, and I've actually used them all. I think. I don't think that they're bad. I don't think the competitors are bad. I will say I was able to get more consistent results using Botox brand. I don't know if that's because I just have used it so long and I'm just more familiar with it. I had a few people when I was using some of the substitution brands that would come in and say that they had results that were unexpected, and I don't think it was a technique issue.
Right.
So and to be honest, if somebody's been, say, for example, been using Dysport their entire lives as an injector, then they'd probably be good. But I will say, if I had to pick a brand of neuromodulator that's my favorite, I do like Botox. Like Botox is a brand.
Yeah.
Everyone calls everything Botox, but Botox is.
What would be a reason to not get like the name brand Botox?
I'm not really sure because the pricing, they'll say it's cheaper, but then you have to buy more units, and it all kind of ends up as a wash for the most part. I do think that maybe some of the competitors are very, very slightly cheaper, but not enough that I would consider.
Not enough for like a successful like med spa plastic surgeon to be like, I'm only doing this.
My opinion, there are med spas out there that only use Dysport, for example, but they've probably been using them for a long time, and they're just used to them. Excuse me, I got choked up talking about Botox. Talking about Botox, I get choked up.
Too passionate about Botox?
I'm so passionate, I just get choked up. Okay, I think another big tip, and this one's kind of hard, but you do have to find the right injector. There is a huge variance in outcome with Botox based on who's injecting it. There are a lot of ways to screw this up. Now, when I say screw it up, like you're not going to die, but you may not get as good of a result from one injector to the other.
Yeah.
Like if you line 10 injectors up and say every 6 months you went to a different one and you recorded it, you would probably get some I don't want to say hugely different, but you would definitely get some noticeable variances in how it looked. And, finding the right injector is like finding the right stylist. I mean, I get crazy about stylists. I have a good one right now, and if she retires, I'm going to be super sad. But I think Botox injectors are like stylists. You got to find the one that you meld with very good, and that can meet your goals. And that's my number 3 tip is discuss your goals and preferences with your injector. There are a few ways I do Botox, and I will. So if I get like a new consult for Botox, which I rarely do because I'm trying not to get new Botox patients because we have all the injectors, but I will sit down and tell them, look, if you know what you want, tell me. If you don't know what you want, let me give you what most people like, but then I want you to record what your thoughts are on it, and do you see things you like or things you don't like?
Yeah, tweak it if you don't.
And tweak it, because there are subtle things I do differently from one patient to the other, and it all kind of aims for the goal of making that unique result that each individual patient wants. It's like, remember we were talking about designer breast surgery? This is like designer Botox, except that's a whole, not even a real thing. It's just that you're talking to the patient, which you should do, and not just be a cookie cutter and come in and just, everyone gets the same thing.
Right.
My next tip is making sure you start Botox at the right age. Now this varies because of genetics. I think around 30 is probably the sweet spot, and it's totally fine to start it later. You still will get benefit from it, but around 30 is great because that's when people will start to get etchings of wrinkles in their skin. Like no 20-year-old has wrinkles. Not a lot of 30-year-olds do either, but that's kind of when they start to pop up. And if you don't want to have wrinkles and you want to look a lot younger than your stated age, man, Botox is literally one of the easiest things to do to
prevent
that.
Yeah. All about prevention.
Yeah. How old were you when you started Botox?
Literally last year, so 34.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah, but I already look really young for my age.
You do look young for your age. So I think you look young for your age.
Yeah.
I concur. Okay, next tip is be consistent. Botox works best if you get on a pretty routine schedule of it. You do need to know that the first times you use it, it doesn't last as long. Your body tends to kick it out quicker. The more you use it, the longer it lasts. Yeah. And you can get up to using it about every 6 months. But if you use that consistently, you'll just get that much smoother result. Like your muscles aren't like turning on and turning off. Like just kind of keep them dumbed down, and it will definitely give you a more thorough and consistent result. Next, I recommend people be cautious with off-label or unusual uses of Botox. I personally will only do Botox in the 3 classic areas, which is glabella, which is the area between your forehead to prevent the frown lines, forehead to prevent the wrinkles up there, and then the smile lines around the eyes. You get injectors now injecting around the face, around the lips, like there's the lip flip and the trap tox and all this crazy stuff.
What?
I don't like injecting Botox around the mouth because it is not out of the realm of possibility that you could get like a mouth droop, which make you look like you had a stroke. And there's no way to reverse this. I mean, it goes away eventually when it wears off, but in the meantime, you look like you had a stroke.
Oh my gosh.
To me, it's just not worth doing that stuff. And I know some of my injectors are probably mad to hear me say this. I don't see huge differences in the people that get those kind of really, off-label uses of Botox. Personally, on the other hand, I know we have patients that are going to our injectors that are getting these kind of unusual things, and they like them. So take my advice with a grain of salt, I guess. Next, I got 2 more. First off, avoid total forehead paralysis. I do get people that come in and say they want 0 movement on their forehead. I don't like that for 2 reasons. One, if you totally paralyze the forehead, your eyebrows are going to collapse into your eye sockets, and it's going to make you look unusual. Unless you have super high eyebrows. For most people, if they totally paralyze their forehead, their eyebrows are going to be down. Also, too, it takes away your expression.
Yeah.
You need some expression.
To look like a human.
To look like a human, yes. Which leads me to my very last tip about Botox, is don't forget to keep your empathy.
Yeah.
Remember we did the whole segment about Botox and how it makes you lose your empathy? And there actually is some truth to that, although it's pretty small.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are my tips for Botox. Yeah. I was like, how did we get on this Botox? It's because of the upside down.
Yes.
I don't think the upside down thing is real. I think, it's a classic case of someone.
It almost sounds like a bet.
I bet I can do your Botox upside
down.
I do think positioning is important. It's funny. The Allergan people who do the trainings, which I definitely have beef with some of the stuff that they do. They train people to do the Botox sitting up.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I'm like, you lay down, so there has to be a reason why you lay down for Botox.
Well, there's a reason I lay people down.
Yeah.
Is because one, the patient can't get away from me. If you're sitting up and they're doing like this, it makes a moving target's harder to hit. Now, for the most part, people are good, but
I don't want to be hit. I don't want to be.
You don't want to be moving, right? You don't want to be moving. The other thing too is, for me, it's just much more ergonomic to inject being over the top of someone. And it's funny because I did my wife's Botox at home. I do her Botox just at my house. We like Botox in the butter dish. And for some reason she was sitting up and I didn't think to reposition her, and I did it with her sitting up, and I was like, I hate this. I do not like this at all. Like, it just feels weird to me. Like my arms were like, I didn't know what to do with my arms. I was just like, I don't like this. And so I told her, I was like, I'm making you lay down the next time. She's like, I didn't even know I was doing it differently. So it wasn't like her fault, but it was my fault. But yeah. So position I think is important.
Yeah.
But whatever you're
not
comfortable
upside
with.
down.
Yeah.
Not upside down. If
Not
you had the
upside down.
choice.
Upside down.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like Mission Impossible Botox. Yeah.